In the world of football, there are players who make a difference, and there are players who redefine the game. Nico Williams, at such a young age, has risen from obscurity, from poverty, to become a sought-after talent, with Europe's top clubs vying for his signature. Now, he represents the country that embraced him as its own, leading it towards potential glory. As we gear up for Euro 2024, one question is on everyone's mind. Is Nico Williams the key to Spain's success? Nico Williams was born to Ghanaian parents in Pamplona, Spain. At the tender age of 12, he moved to the Athletic Bilbao Youth Academy, making his debut for the first team in April 2021 when he was just 18. Since then, Nico has become a key player for Athletic Bilbao, making over 150 appearances for the club and helping them win a Spanish Super Cup and the recently celebrated Copa del Rey. His impressive performances caught the eye of the Spanish Football Federation, who were keen to secure his allegiance to Spain. His brother Iñaki, also born in Spain and a teammate at the Athletic Club, chose to represent Ghana due to their family's roots. The RFEF was determined not to let the same happen with Nico. So after representing the under-18 and under-21 Spanish sides, Nico made his senior international debut for Spain in September 2022 and then represented them in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar at just 20 years of age. Now, as he matures, his biggest test lies ahead: the Euros. Nico Williams is a rapid, ambidextrous winger. Initially starting his career for Spain on the right, he has now made the left wing his own, especially after the emergence of Lamine Yamal on the right. While everyone has their eyes on Yamal, who could be a game changer for Spain this tournament, Nico brings a different set of skills to the table. Known for his exceptional dribbling skills and speed, Williams can beat defenders and create space for himself and his teammates. Yamal, on the other hand, relies more on his technical skills such as delivering precise crosses and cutting past defenders to take his own shots. Williams' versatility on the pitch is also a major asset. Being ambidextrous, he can play all three forward positions, he can fill in during counters, and is reliable with his finishing with both feet in front of goal. Yamal, however, is a bit more one-dimensional, heavily relying on his lethal left foot but needing improvement on his weaker right. In terms of experience, Nico Williams at 21 has more familiarity with the national team setup and has already played in several high-level matches. Yamal, just 16, is still a young player with less international experience, but he certainly seems to fit in. Both players will have a crucial role in how Spain builds its attacks from out wide. Nico is fast, he's agile, he can take on an opponent and generate a change of direction almost instantly. He is able to wait with the ball at his feet, drawing his marker, which is usually the right back, out of position before feinting to go past him into a dangerous position. He averages 3.42 successful take-ons per 90 minutes, making him 94% better than the players in the rest of Europe. Williams has been described as a dribbling machine due to his impressive ability to beat defenders one-on-one. He averages 4.81 shot-creating actions per 90 minutes, placing him in the 80th percentile among positional peers. This means he's better than 80% of the players in the world at that stat. Once he beats his marker and is in a position to cross, he does that on average 6 times per game and also contributes to nearly 1 goal per match. According to this data, he's one of the best in the world at both. He averages 5.69 progressive carries per 90 minutes, which is in the 93rd percentile among positional peers. But the key thing would be for Spain to finish off these chances that Nico creates. Whoever is at number 9, Morata or Joselu, will be getting chances from both the wingers and they will have to capitalize on that. Just passing and tiki-takaing for 1,000 passes won't do them any good. But Nico, having enhanced his game under Ernesto Valverde at Athletic Club, whose football philosophy is also based on retaining possession and counters, Nico is familiar with the 4-2-3-1 formation and the 4-3-3. Which allows him to play on either wing, utilizing the width of the pitch and his technical gifts to beat defenders. His unpredictability with his feet is also a gift for Spain. His ability to use both feet effectively makes him unpredictable for defenders, as they cannot anticipate which foot he will use to shoot or pass, or whether he's about to cross or cut it back. It also makes him a threat from set pieces such as free kicks and corners, where he can deliver precise crosses and shots from virtually any position on the pitch. He is also very good at coming back to defend, and with his explosive pace can help out the fullbacks if they lose possession during a counter. As the Euro 2024 draws near, all eyes are on Spain. A nation that once boasted a golden generation of footballers who swept all before them, Spain has struggled to replicate that level of success in recent years. The glory days of La Roja seem like a distant memory, yet there's a sense of anticipation in the air. Despite the influx of new blood, the team remains steadfastly committed to its traditional tiki-taka style of play, refusing to abandon its identity. What can we expect from this new generation at Euro 2024? And more importantly, what will Nico Williams, a rising star in his own right, bring to the table?